If you think the 2026 cost of living adjustment is wrong, you're not alone. Overwhelmingly, Social Security recipients say that number, 2.8%, doesn't reflect their reality. Using this Motorola brick phone from 1984 and my personal phone, I'm going to show you why. Coming up next on Holy Schmidt.
Holy Schmidt!
The Social Security Administration just released the 2026 COLA number, and that number is 2.8%. Now, every year when I put out a video on the adjustment, there are comments that come through in the comments section. Overwhelmingly, they say the cost of living adjustment is wrong. It doesn't reflect reality. Somebody might have gotten the calculation wrong. This year in particular, there are a lot of comments about the government shutdown. And the fact is, with a few exceptions, most of the comments are quite sensible when you actually dig into them. So why does the cost of living adjustment feel wrong? That's what we're going to talk about now. Reason number one, you're starting from a low base. Social Security isn't supposed to be your entire income stream in retirement. It was put in place in 1935 effectively so that people weren't starving, because the Great Depression sent a lot of people to food lines, and frankly, a lot of people didn't survive. And the reported feedback from the SSA is that it's about 40% of the average retiree's income. Now, that's 40% of the average retiree's retirement income, not their working years income, which tends to be even higher still. And many retirees have some form of investment. Most have a 401k or an IRA. Some have property. Some have annuities. And that's a benchmarking problem. Now, what does that mean, a benchmarking problem? The S&P 500 index year-to-date has increased 17%, over 17%. And so on the one hand, you've got private investments that are achieving a 17% return, 17% plus in many cases. And on the other hand, you have your Social Security payment, which is 2.8%. So a retiree is looking at their investment outcome and saying, that's a sensible outcome, that's a great outcome. Why is my Social Security payment growth so low? Not realizing that the two aren't really correlated. And on the other side, if someone's Social Security payment is all that they receive, every percentage point counts. And so 2.8% is a very difficult outcome for someone who's living paycheck to paycheck. The next reason is the deduction from your Social Security check. And I'm talking about Medicare and other related deductions, but particularly Medicare. Over the years, Medicare increases have not matched the cost of living adjustment. And frankly, many years they go up significantly more. They're projected to go up significantly more in 2025 for 2026. So why does this happen? Well, there are a lot of reasons. And if you look at my last video, 1.2 million Medicare Advantage plans have been canceled. I discuss a big component of that, and that is medical inflation. Medical inflation is running higher this year anyway than inflation. And depending on what measure you're talking about, hospital visits, doctor visits, or other, you're talking about an increase of somewhere between 3 and 4.5%. So when you use doctors and hospitals and Medicare pays for that, well, the Medicare adjustment is going to go up faster than the overall basket of prices that have gone up. And that basket is the 2.8%. Speaking of annual enrollment, we are in the Medicare annual enrollment period, and many plans are changing for 2026. Some are going away altogether. There was a big Wall Street Journal article on this point a couple of weeks ago. And even if you're happy with your current plan, it's critical that you review your 2026 options. Millions of people every year get stuck on the wrong plan. Because of this, I recommend that you talk to our partner Chapter. Their support is free. It takes about 20 minutes, and they save clients an average of about $1,100 per year. So give them a call at 440-703-1224 to see if they can help you. The next point is what's called a hedonic adjustment. Now, when I opened the video, I showed you a Motorola Dynatac 8000X from 1984. The phone retails for $3,995, or it retailed for $3,995 when it was sold. The phone could store a whopping 30 telephone numbers, had 30 minutes of talk time, 8 hours of standby time, and it took 10 hours to recharge the phone. This is my iPhone 14 Pro. Although it doesn't list the talk time, video playback time is about 23 hours. It comes with unlimited telephone numbers and takes just under 2 hours to fully recharge. The cost of the Pro is $995. Now, the Bureau of Labor Statistics, this is the group that determines the price changes year over year, which ultimately end up in that 2.8% increase. They'll literally look at hundreds of items and they'll say, what's the change in these items? And then they'll take those items and they'll put them in categories. but they won't look at the iPhone 14 Pro or something like the iPhone 14 Pro and say the iPhone 14 Pro has increased 5% year over year. They have to discount the 14 Pro to bring it back to the same quality as the original item that went in the basket. And although I haven't done the research, if this was the original product, the iPhone with all of its additional features would be pretty close to zero in terms of its cost in that basket. Does it make sense? Intuitively, I suppose it does, but it definitely feels like they're doing the wrong thing. The next point is the basket is wrong for you. Now, what does that mean? Well, when the Bureau of Labor Statistics is determining the prices on all of those hundreds of items, it's coming up with one number. But you're not buying every single one of those items. In fact, you might be buying some items that are a lot more expensive and they've had a much bigger price change, and you might not be buying any items that have had no price change or even a negative price adjustment. In fact, I would say that's very possible when you're talking about people in the retirement community, because the cost of living adjustment is based on something called CPI-W. W means urban wage earners. And if you're not in that group and spend like that group, your spending patterns are going to be different. Now, let me give you a few examples. Even though the basket of items that they're measuring went up on average 2.8%, one of the items is natural gas, and that went up 11.7%. So if you live in a very cold part of the country, your natural gas bill is going to be really big. If you bought a used car last year, like so many retirees do, they'll buy a really high quality used car and pay cash for it, and they'll use that car for 10, 20 years. Used cars were up 5.7% year over year. Household furnishings were up 4.1%. Hospital services were up 5.5%. Medical services were up 3.3%. And the cost of shelter, things like rent or a mortgage payment, up 3.6% year over year. So if you spent more on any of those items, and typically the retirement community spends more on those items than people outside of the retirement community, your COLA adjustment isn't going to reflect your reality. And the final point is something called manufactured controversy in the media. There is a phenomenon that has come about only in the last 10 to 15 years called manufactured controversy. Now, what is manufactured controversy? It's where a news source puts out a piece, whether it's an article, a video, an interview, something, where they ask a salacious question about something that they know has a boring answer, but it's not out there yet in terms of the answer. Social Security is ripe for this, by the way, and a 2.8% increase in the cost of living adjustment is an easy target. I'll give you three that I just thought of as I was preparing to sit down in front of the camera. Did the government shutdown cause people to get sloppy with their calculations, and did they get the number wrong? Or let's go the other way. Will the 2.8% increase cause the Social Security Trust to deplete faster? Or is there an agenda behind these numbers? Is there a reason that they're 2.8% instead of something else? None of that, by the way, is true, at least not that I'm aware of, but those are very salacious questions, and you could build an entire article around this. And then somebody reads the article, and it's not an answer, it's a question, and that question gets out there. Gang, I put together a Social Security quick guide for you. It's one page, it's easy to use, and it's my free gift to you. It has most of the key information that you need to know about Social Security all on one page. To download your free copy, go to hollyschmidt.com/quick guide, and it will be emailed to you instantly. You'll also get the occasional email with tips, tricks, and other information about retirement that you will find very useful. Also, if you have interest in talking to somebody about Medicare, don't forget to call our partner at Chapter 440-703-1224. This is Jeff Schmidt, and I will see you in that video right there.